What is up, everyone, and welcome back to the show. Today's guest is someone who's not just a legend in the self-development world, but also one of my very first mentors, and honestly, one of my best friends on this planet. I met this gentleman 6 years ago, and from the very beginning, he's been a massive catalyst in my life. He isn't just someone I've learned from, he is family. And over the years, we've shared countless deep conversations, outrageous laughs, and powerful breakthroughs. And in this episode, we take a full trip down memory lane. We jam on some of our very best memories together, our personal philosophies around the self-development and healing space, and he drops some absolutely hysterical stories from his own journey that will give you a deeper look into how he became the man he is today. I can confidently say this was one of the funniest, most enjoyable episodes I've ever recorded, and I am beyond excited for you all to check it out. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy this conversation with my good brother, Mr. Mark England, the legend himself. Wow, dude. It's been amazing just hanging out with you for the last couple of minutes here, chatting about so many hilarious memories. For those that don't know you, this is, of course, my good friend, mentor, and amazing brother in life, Mark England. And we were just talking about some of the Nerf darts you're still finding at the lake house. From how long ago was that? Like 3 years ago?
I'm still fine. It was a chapter. It wasn't one incident.
Yeah.
Now, you know, for a variety of reasons, my memory isn't the clearest about all that. How many times did we party there?
Oh, dude, at least 8, if not 10.
Yeah. Let's say eight to 10.
Yeah, 8 to 10. That's a good number.
8 to 10 parties, and you made it to every single one of them, which
every
is
single one.
You know,
never missed one.
Every single one, dude.
Yep.
You're like, yeah. And that chapter of In Lifted History will never be repeated for a variety of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is that my stepmom lives up there full time now, and it's military grade clean.
Yeah.
And I shudder at the thought of opening the doors to our ruckus. Yeah, because it would take days to get the thing back to semblance.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, while a lot of people were staring at the wall during COVID, we were fucking working and partying.
Dude, we were having a fucking blast, dude. That was like the best time of my life, dude. You know, and there's a clear distinction, right? I've noticed something. You can kind of tell where someone's at in, let's call it their evolution, based on how they view the pandemic. Like for me, that was the coolest time of my life. It was so fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like flight prices were stupid cheap. I was getting whole aisles to myself, not having to buy first class. I could lay out and have fun. We were going down to the Virginia, every 2-3 months and having epic get-togethers. And I'll never forget, dude, the first time that we kind of spawned the idea to get the Nerf guns. It was like me, Chase, and Dave sitting at the table, ripping some bags. And I was like, oh, you know what would be so fun? We should get Nerf guns. And then I think it was Chase was like, dude, we should just order some. So me, Chase, and Dave all ordered like 2 or 3 of them. And we got the machine guns, the autos. And I ended up buying, I think, 1,200 extra darts. I was like, it didn't seem like that much when I clicked on it. It was just like a little package. And I was like, oh, like I'll get 1,200. That should be enough. And then they came, dude, and it was like a fucking megalithic box full of fucking clips, essentially. Like they were in like these plastic things, like, separated 20 to a thing. And I remember, you come out, you see kind of all the boxes and everything. And we start telling you about what we're going to do. And I remember that night you were like, make a fucking mess. I want this. I don't want to see the floor from how many darts are here. And we were like, roger that. And then we proceeded to have the most fun ever. It's still burned in my memory when Clint was there. And he was, he's a military guy for everyone listening. And, it was funny because he decided to sit right in the middle of all the craziness. He was like, I'll sit right in the middle. And I happened to be sitting at the table kind of on like a break, making a bag for everyone or whatever I was doing. And I just happened to take a zoom out moment and just kind of look at everything happening. Everyone's firing guns from different sides of the living room. And then there's Clint just right in the middle of it. Like, yeah, I love this shit. And I just happened to look at Clint and it just, my eye catches one bullet that got fired, right? One Nerf dart. And I'm watching this thing. I just happen to lock onto it. And I'm like, and I watch it go. And it hits him directly in the eye, dude. Like you could not have done a better shot, dude. And no one else notices, right? So like I'm sitting there and I'm seeing him like, oh, oh, like, dude, and no one's noticing. And I just happen to be sitting there seeing all of this happen, dude. And it was so fucking funny, dude. I bring that up every time I see him or Chase or Dave, dude. It never gets less funny. It's still funny. 3 years later, 2 years later, whatever the hell it was. So fucking silly, dude.
Bro, I talked to him 10 days ago. And that guy's always laughing.
He is.
I've known him since level 1 group 3. So what is that? February of 2020?
I think it's before
I've hung out with him a lot. Yeah.
Because I was group 4 and I started in January of 2020. So
okay.
Yeah,
you're right. You're right. Because I remember doing some Christmas classes.
Yep.
With him. Dude, I've like we hang out. He's a buddy. I have never seen him so happy. When y'all were playing, he's a Marine.
Yeah.
He was over in fucking Iraq.
Yeah.
And I have never seen that guy so happy when he was all geared up and shooting those darts and move. I saw him, like, I've never heard him laugh so hard.
Oh, it was like childhood deep belly laughter.
Yes.
And it was so good, man. Like, you could tell how healing it was for him too. And all of us. I mean, that's where I kind of realized, like, wow, for men, we don't need inner child healing. We just need to get Nerf guns, and we do inner child healing as a side effect,
Dude, laugh like a child and it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, you done the work.
You don't need
a pillow.
It.
Yeah. You don't. No, you don't need to write your little child, little pal a letter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I'm not above writing letters, of course. I mean, and dude, I'll take Nerf guns and just crushing, gut bending laughter with the boys over damn near anything in the healing space.
Straight up.
I mean, tell me something better. Honestly,
literally, I don't think there is anything better for men, and I think that's kind of what a lot of men have forgot. It's like, this isn't as complicated as we're making it. Like the healing process is not as complicated. I just put out a reel today, with people that reach out and they're like, how do I know I've integrated? I'm like, you'll know you're integrated when you're not obsessed anymore about saying you're healed. Like, it's a phase. It becomes your whole identity for a little while. You went through it. I went through it. But eventually you just start embodying it. And you just start living it, and it stops being this thing that's performative, and that's kind of, to me, what the Nerf gun point was. I'd been learning a lot of this stuff and going to different retreats and whatnot. And, again, beautiful work. It's just that, like, a lot of the inner child stuff just didn't hit me good enough. Like, I think as men, when I have a person that's asking me, what was your childhood trauma? And so right from asking that, my ego's already on the defense. Okay. It's already like, okay, how do we protect him from this? And then I tell them and they try to just say it back to me and trigger me. I'm like, I don't know what this is going to do. But if I play with Nerf guns with a bunch of guys, I end up laughing my ass off. At the end, I feel lighter. I feel more like a child. I feel like I'm more in the presence of even God. But I didn't have to go spend $5,000 at a retreat. I didn't have to go, like, try to cry. I just let whatever was naturally there come up. And I think if most men actually think about it, they'd rather go play with Nerf guns than go to an inner child healing retreat. And at what point do we just start listening to our heart again? Because isn't that the embodiment, right? We just follow our intuition. That's my best guess.
Marcus Aurelius, he said, if you forget you were ever hurt, the pain goes away.
Yes.
If you forget you were ever wounded, the pain disappears. Mm-hmm. It's like you said, it's you're not obsessing over it. This guy, Rich Cooper, who's in the manosphere, red pilling dudes. Oh yeah.
I love that terminology, dude. It's so fun.
Oh yeah. He had a motorcycle. He used to ride motorcycles, like, a lot. And I can't remember the job that he had. And in the building that he worked in his office, he could see across the street into this parking lot. And the only building over there was this therapist's office, multiple therapists' office. And he said, I never once saw a guy with a motorcycle go to therapy.
Dude, it's so true, right? Like, there are these things that I think are so essential for men. And whether it's the motorcycle, the gun, whether or not it's barbecuing with your friends, whatever it fucking is, it doesn't really matter. But it's that, like, we forget how to have fun, dude.
Yeah.
Like a lot of us get too serious. I'm sure it happens to women too, I would imagine, based on what Rachel's taught me about women. But, you know, I think men have it a little bit rougher when it comes to being overly serious. You know, and you just pick up a Nerf gun or get on a fucking motorcycle. Or for me, when I was a kid, you know what it was? It was GoPed motor scooters. Dude, did I ever tell you about this? That I was almost a professional GoPed motor scooter racer?
No.
Dude, so this is actually a funny story. So when I was in 8th grade, motor scooters started to get really big. When I was about 12, I saw my first one. And this certain brand, GoPed, they're out of California. They fold up, but they started to get crazy. People were doing backflips on them. I mean, it started to become like a real sport. And so first, this kid in my neighborhood, this kid, John, got one. And we'd all go to his driveway and watch him use it. He would never let us ride it because he was kind of a dick. But, you know, he would always like, just, oh, check this out. And then this other kid in my neighborhood, Dave, got one as well. But I wasn't that close to him. He was an older kid. And so then that Christmas, my buddy Mark got the Rock, which was like a different brand of scooter. And this was much faster. It probably went 30, where the other ones went 22. And so he was now the fastest scooter in town. And so my dad was like, well, I got to get you one. So he got me a GoPed. And it was like one of the basic ones, 22 miles an hour. It was a Geo X-Ped, to be precise. And it was slow and whatever, but I was having fun. And then another kid in my town, Jake, got one, and it was a little bit faster than Mark. So now Jake was in the lead, all right? And so my dad started doing really well in business. This is like 2006, 5, 6, right around there, for the whole crash of 2008. And so my dad had a lot of money, and my dad, like a typical guy, was like, what's it going to take for you to beat these guys? And I was like, well, there's this scooter called the GSR 40 that my other friend had just gotten. And that was like definitely the best. It was just as fast as Jake's, but it was way better of a build. And so I was like, well, we could get that, but this new one had just come out, the GSR 40 TSI, the Trevor Simpson Interceptor. And so there was this place down in Cape Cod that stocked all this. It was like a big warehouse. And so my dad took me down there, and we're talking to the guys, and my dad was such a big kid. He's like, all right, so what's the best one? And they're like, the TSI. And he's like, all right, we'll get that one. And so I remember I'm coming home and I'm texting my friend Sean, the one that had the GSR 40. He's like, what'd you get? Because he was pissed. He thought I might get the TSI. So I was like, I just got the 40. And then my dad drops me off at his house. And I take it out. He's like, you dick, you got the TSI. So then for like a quick minute, I was the fastest. All right. Then Jake's dad buys him a new motor, a 55cc motor. And he's like owning us now. Now his goes like 45. So my dad brings our scooter back down there. He gets a custom exhaust pipe, head kit, air filter. It starts to get so crazy that the guys that are building the scooter, they won't even ride it. Like, it terrifies them. Like, it was insane, bro. For me to be 14 and be able to go 50 miles an hour on this fucking thing that took off like a rocket too. Like, Jake's was slower, but this one, dude, you'd slam the gas and the mid band was crazy. Multiple girls that I had crushes on, I'd be like, you can ride it. And they got so fucked up on it. Smoked, dude. Like, this one girl tried to get on it and she accidentally grabbed the throttle. And I'm watching her walk around with this thing as it's like flying around. So anyway, I got really into it and I almost became like, pro in it and, going to races and whatever. But then it ended up years later, a buddy of mine that got raided and a bunch of other shit had to move out of town, had it at his family house when all that shit went down, and they moved overnight, and I never heard about it again. So I don't know where it went. It's out there somewhere, but yeah. So I was almost this motor scooter rider, just to add to the lore of my story.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So the motorcycle thing's real, dude. It's real. Yep.
Motorcycles, motor scooters, darts.
Yep.
Like you mentioned, guns. For me, it's guns, dude. I don't need to go to a $5,000 retreat in Costa Rica and fucking blah 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 blah. I want to go shoot guns with my boys.
Camaraderie, dude, brother.
That's it. Yeah, camaraderie.
It can be that simple. I mean, dude, when we're at the farm hanging out, which you're at right now, I can tell because I've been in that house enough times now.
Mm-hmm.
But when we're at the farm, dude, life just makes sense. You know, it's like the epitome of
Yeah.
like, it ain't much, but it's honest work. Like, it's the most beautiful environment, you know, like when we get to shoot guns with your guys that come down that are so fucking professional, absolute savages, would never want to get in that dude's bad side, or his wife as well. His wife's got huge shoulders. If they listen to this, shout out to you guys. You guys are units. But it's so much fun, you know, and we get to like, you know, it's so responsible for everyone out there, you know, wondering what this is. Like, these guys are professionals. I mean, you can probably speak to a little bit more of their qualifications, but they've all been, you know, deployed before. They're ex-military, and it's so fun, man. You know, like, I feel so much closer to all you guys every time we go through that. And it reminds me a lot of my dad. My dad was a gun guy, so I grew up going to the range and shooting with him. And so when I started shooting with you, I hadn't shot a gun in, I don't know, probably 10 years since my dad had passed, you know, or maybe like 5 or 6, you know, because 2021, I think, was the first time we shot. But it's so fun, dude. It's a fucking blast, you know, and people want to make it all about like gun violence, whatever. It's like, listen, dude, I don't know how I can make this simpler for you guys to understand. Bad guys are always going to get guns. The best thing you can do is be a good guy with a gun, understand how to utilize it, because the monkey's out of the bottle at this point. We're not going to, like, I get it. Wouldn't it be great if there was no guns around? Yeah, cool, awesome. It'd also be great if I won $10 million in the lottery, but that's probably not going to happen. So, yeah, you know, it's just such a strange conversation. I've never got.
How about high fructose corn syrup violence?
Exactly, dude.
How about high fructose corn syrup violence? You know.
Yeah.
How about fucking blue light violence?
Mm-hmm.
How about fucking
EMF violence?
Yeah. Hate speech. No, self-hate speech. Don't worry about hate speech. Self-hate speech is literally a billion times worse for the planet than hate speech.
Mm-hmm. And really, the conversation not many people want to have is the fact that hate speech can only affect you if you also hate yourself.
Correct. Look at the words. I take offense to that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, stop taking it. Offense is always given. It's always taken. It's never given.
Exactly.
Yeah. And if someone has a lot of self-hate speech going on, then they're going to be susceptible to hate speech. Mm-hmm. It's psychological and emotional immunity 101.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, you know, that's the challenge I see in society is everyone wants to look at the effect, but they don't want to take accountability that they're the cause of it. Because you're either the cause of the effect of this world, and really you're always the cause, but you can choose to live as the effect, aka the victim, if you want to. And that's your choice. Like, everyone gets that choice. But it's almost like Harry Potter in the first movie where they go to Diagon Alley and, you know, Hagrid's telling him, you're a wizard. And he's like, well, I just went through a wall called 9 3/4. So I'm starting to believe this, but I don't really believe it yet. And so he gets given that wand at the wand shop. And the guy's like, give it a flick. And so he gives it a flick and shit's flying off the walls, right? That's how most people use their magic. You know, it's not that they don't have magic. They're just unaware of how they're utilizing it. And they don't want to accept that in order to really own their magic, they have to also own up to all the ways they've used it unconsciously. It's like if Harry was like, I'm not taking responsibility for that. That wasn't me. That was the wand. And the guy would be like, well, who was holding the wand? Who gave it the intention? Who gave it the direction? That was you. And that's the very small shift that is keeping most people stuck in the victim mentality forever. It's interesting.
You know, I've never watched a Harry Potter movie.
I know our next farmhouse side.
Are they that good? Is this going to be Game of Thrones 2.0? Adam and Vando were super huge GOT fans, and also this girl I was staying with at the time, she was a super huge, and I just heard about it for seriously 3 years. Until it got to the fourth season. I said, fine, I'll watch one. And I was like, holy shit.
You want to hear something?
And then I caught up on them. I got current. And you know what the funny thing is about GOT? Nobody talks about that shit anymore.
Mm-hmm. No one, dude.
You know why?
Why?
You know why? Because the end season was so bad. They shotgunned it out. They just murdered that. It was legendary status. All they had to do was they fumbled at the 3-yard line on a walk-in.
God damn, dude. You want something funny? I'll admit it here. Okay, I've never said this before publicly, guys. All right, so tune in. Pay attention to this. I've never seen an episode of Game of Thrones. How crazy is that? It's, from what I guess, it's as good as Harry Potter. For like, generally speaking, it's as like people talk about it. People talked about it. Yeah, there's no nude Khaleesi in it. You know, I understand why a lot of people. There were titties in every single show, every single episodes of GOT. I know. Like, That's what I've heard from everyone. I've heard there's like some crazy shit going on in there. Harry Potter's not interesting like that, but I will give you a side quest to go look up. Okay. So you should probably watch The Sorcerer's Stone, the first one first. Okay. Just to get context for what you're going to watch after. And for everyone listening, please go do this. It'll make you laugh so hard. If you have a silly sense of humor. Okay. There's some people that are like, I don't really get it. But even Rachel laughed at this. And usually if she laughs, I'm like, okay, this is probably objectively good for most people. But if you go on YouTube and you look up Dear Reader, Harry Potter, there's a guy who overdubbed the entire first movie, and it is fucking hilarious. When I first met Alex, the way that we connected was he was like, McCormick. And I was like, wait a minute, have you seen Dear Reader? And he's like, yeah. And I've never met anyone else who's seen Dear Reader except people I've shown. But there are some fucking hilarious overdubs in that. When they're playing the Quidditch match, there's this part where Harry drops the ball and the guy's like, fuck, Harry snarled, like it's so ridiculous, dude. It's so worth watching, but you should probably watch the real movie first so you at least have some context. Otherwise you'll be like, what the fuck am I watching?
Yeah, that does sound... Dude, what is Alex? What's Alex Morningstar up to?
He's in Oregon, hanging out. Last I checked, he's working for his dad. I fucking love that guy. He's so awesome. I got to reach out to him. Life's moving so fast, I keep forgetting to reach out to him. We connected back in probably 10 months ago, just to shoot the shit, catch up or whatever. And yeah, he's doing good. Jody's doing good. Kids are doing good. But yeah, Alex is one of my favorite people I've ever met. I can get along with anyone. I love hanging out with people, but there are some people that are really deeply, like you and Adam are those people too. Dave Ray, there are certain people that I connect with and I'm like, oh man, we are like puzzle pieces to each other. I actually didn't really get myself until I understood that person in relation to myself. And Alex was the first person I met really besides you and Adam that were like that, or that was like that. So yeah, that kid's awesome. What a secret gangster as well. He's one of those people.
Dave Ray?
No, Alex. He's one of those people we were talking, if someone looks at him, they're like, oh, he's 5'4", 5'5". I might be able to...
in your nose.
Yeah, that kid could literally beat the living shit out of pretty much anyone I've ever met, including myself. I mean, he literally, has one of the coolest stories ever. His dad and him literally lived out Cobra Kai. They had competing gyms. I mean, it was the coolest story ever. We got matching Cobra Kai sweatshirts because of that. So cool.
Talk about another sleeper, not in the fight game, but fucking Dave Ray, dude.
What a savage,
bro.
I love Dave Ray.
Dude, so Dave Ray, shout out to Dave Ray.
Yeah, shout out to
Dave. Then I'm gonna tell a story about Unpuckered. Please. Unpuckered.com.
Yes, you got it the other day. I saw that.
You heard?
I saw the post that you made, but please tell all the context. I won't say anything else.
Yeah. So Dave Ray wakes up one morning and decides to Google ayahuasca. And your podcast, Once Upon a Time on Psychedelics, comes up. And he starts binging. And then he gets in contact with you and starts working with you, right?
Yeah.
And he likes the language stuff, right? Mm-hmm. If I'm getting this story right. Mm-hmm. And you're like, hey, this cool guy, he, likes the language stuff. I'm like, yeah, put me in touch. So I put him in touch. We get introduced on Instagram. He lived in Russia for 12 years. I lived in Thailand for 10 years. So there was that, expat thing. And he seemed like a cool guy. Mm-hmm. And so I sent him Enlifted Coaches Essentials. This is one of our online courses as a gift. Now, most people I gift that to. There's a couple of reasons that I do that. I've gifted a lot of courses over the years. Put out some good juju, right? And also, I want to see who takes it. Most people don't. Mm-hmm. And I circled back with him 5-6 weeks later, and I'm like, hey man, did you take that course? He goes, I took it twice. I go, oh, you're one of those.
Yeah.
How about you come to my birthday party?
Yeah.
This was last year. And just for the record, I don't give a fuck about birthdays. That's totally not me. It's just a reason to get everybody together in the middle of the summer.
You have great birthday parties, man. Woo!
Thanks,
dude.
Some
of the best parties ever.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. You deserve it.
And so Dave Ray drives from Tucson, Arizona, all the way out to middle of nowhere, Virginia. And he shows up and gets out of his car with a bottle of wine and a 1847 six-shooter in a leather holster, because there was gun training on the menu. And I look at this and I'm like, this is only going to get more interesting from here. Yeah. And was I right? Adam and Dave Ray they're like best friends.
Oh my God, dude. They're like two peas in a pod, bro. It's funny because I'll hop in super quick and then I'll give it back to you. But, very similar to you, how you give courses out. Well, I will, soft invite a lot of people to come hang out with us when we come have these get-togethers. I'll mention in the past and like, oh yeah, we get together in Virginia, and I'll give a little bit enough that if someone is aware, they'll kind of be like, I need that, like that's where I need to be, but not enough that like, I'm not trying to persuade anyone to come because I want them to choose to come. And so when I told Dave about your birthday party, he was like, I'll drive out. And I was like, okay. And I've tried to tell a lot of people about like, hey, come out. And most people are like, I got too much shit going on or whatever. I'm like, all right, whatever. So Dave drives all the way out. You forgot to mention, he drives out in a 2004 Honda Element. He raw dogged the entire fucking drive out there. And all he did to sleep was he just passed out in the back of the Element. No padding. The only thing he had was a fucking pillow from Buc-ee's in the shape of the Buc-ee's mascot and a Buc-ee's beach towel, bro. Dude, like, I thought you were the Marlboro Man. He may actually be the Marlboro Man, dude. Like, that is John Wayne like a motherfucker, dude. Who is okay driving across the country in a 2004 Honda Element with just a Buc-ee's pillow and a fucking beach towel, bro, and a six-shooter?
Dude. What happened when he talked about that Russian midget bass player that he used to date?
Dude. Oh my God, bro. That was diabolical in nature, dude. There's not many people like, I mean, you know how it is. Like, we're all really good at making each other laugh, right? And so, like, when someone else comes in who's that good as well, like, I knew right away. Like, when I started working with Dave, because he'd come on the line and, I'd be like, oh, thanks for being, flexible, dude. Maybe I was running late or whatever. And he'd be like, that's okay. I had a bowel movement to make. And it was just like these one-liners that I'm like, dude, like, I'm also a one-liner person. And like, dude, you're hilarious. Like, and it was funny because, it's not that Dave didn't know he was funny. Obviously it did. But one of the main things that you and Adam and like all the hangouts that we, had did for me was showing me like, man, I'm really fucking funny. Like, I can make people laugh.
Yeah, you are.
That's something I never really realized about myself until really it was the first lake house. Like, dude, I can even break that down for you. All the things I've discovered about myself since hanging out with you guys. That's, epic. But, it was funny because one of the first, I think this is actually the first time I go inside and it was your birthday party and it was Adam and him hanging out and they're joking about queefing. And immediately I knew, like, oh my God, this guy is totally one of us. And, they were talking about like, what was that? And like, oh, nothing, just a queef in the night. And they were fucking killing themselves laughing. And it's so juvenile, but it was so fucking funny. And so, we have so many one-liners and silly shit now after like a year and a half of hanging out together with Dave now. And so him and Adam come to my Breathe with Cannabis retreat. And I was pumped because Dave's come to a bunch of my Breathe with Cannabis events, loves them. Adam had never got to experience it before. So it was really special having them there and Will there and everything. Kind of like combining forces, them getting to meet Chris and, that's my favorite thing to do. It's like bring communities together and be like, you guys will get along. And so we're hanging out one night. It's probably like close to midnight. A lot of people have already gone to bed. And there's like a core crew of us still up. It's like me, Dave, Adam. I think Will was there, obviously, because Will is I don't know how that kid operates like he does. He'll like clean till 2, wake up at 6, have more energy than anyone. I don't even get it. So anyway, he's popping in and out because he's cleaning the kitchen. And we're talking, I think maybe either Suzanne or Amaro was there as well. And we're talking and, somehow the conversation around little people came up and we were talking about like, oh yeah, like just something about it. There wasn't anything, weird. It was just like talking about it. I think we were actually talking about what signifies a little person, like what measurement is like officially a little person. Because I had a friend who was dating someone who was like 4'9", and I was like, is that a little person? Like, I don't know. And so we were looking it up. And that's when Dave Ray comes out with, did I ever tell you guys that I dated a little person out in Russia for a little while? And Adam starts losing it because he can already see where this is going. It's going to be something hilarious. And, we're talking about it. And, then Dave brings up a picture, and he starts telling the story like, yeah, I was in this bar one night in Russia and she was performing. She was a musical artist and it was in the band. I think they were called Little Big or something, because it was two of them that were certified little people, and there was two of them that were like regular heighted people. And they did this like sick ass show. I forget exactly what kind of music, maybe punk rock or whatever. And so, so Dave's talking about it, and he's like, yeah, like at one point we just ended up making out, and that was kind of it. Like, we just made out for the night or whatever. And we were all joking, and for anyone listening, this might be terrible, but it is what it is. And so someone, I forget who it was like, did you like pick her up? did you pick her up by the shoulders to kiss her? And he's like, no, I kissed her when she was on the stage. And we were joking, and then it kind of dies down, right? It dies down, and we're all kind of just hanging out, and it's kind of silent. And he's like, yeah, she later passed away. She later died. And we were all like, that's terrible. But like, it was just the way that he said it. Cause he was like, he wasn't trying to make it funny. It's just that who Dave Ray is so fucking funny that we couldn't do anything but laugh at that point. And it just,
Adam said it brought the house down.
It really did, dude. It was like, I mean, I've never seen Adam like snap like that. Like he couldn't control it. He was like contorting. He was laughing so hard. Oh, yeah. Like I heard his little girl, 5-year-old boy voice come out. Like, just like, what are you doing? Like, it was so fucking funny. And for anyone listening, I cannot even explain or articulate how funny it was in that state and who Dave Ray was, because he was trying to be serious, but it's just who he is just makes people laugh so fucking much, dude. It was so funny, dude. So funny. So funny.
I was the first person. We're still on Dave Ray, by the way.
Yeah.
I was the first person on the planet to own unpuckered.com.
Yeah.
And I talk about that when I talk about mindset, because mindset, it's the story you tell yourself. And if you tell yourself a shit ass story, which most people do about themselves and their life, guess what? It's stressful, and the breath gets trapped in the chest. And that's where those tight shoulders come from. That's where the clenched jaw comes from. And guess what else all tight up to? It's your butthole. Mm-hmm. Your butthole puckers up. Mm-hmm. And most people's butthole stays puckered. And so I bought unpuckered.com and I had it for, I was like, if I ever do a podcast or a show, this is what it's going to be. Mm. And I had it for 2 years until there was some fraud on some fraud motherfuckers got in my bank account, and I didn't like how they handled it. As in the bank. And so I changed banks, and my credit card lapsed, and I lost unpuckered.com, and some loser bought it and tried to sell it back to me for $1,500. And truth be told, I thought about it because one, I was first, and two, it does add to the story.
It does.
Okay. It does add to the story. And I bring that up and people fucking laugh because it's funny.
It is funny.
And true and relatable. Tight ass. No one wants to be called a tight ass. Mm-hmm.
Accurate.
And so it's accurate. Mm-hmm. I brought it up in class on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. And then, today's Thursday. Brought it up in class on Tuesday. Hadn't talked about it in a while. And yesterday, I'm sitting there minding my own business, and I think about it. Unpucker.com. I'm like, I'm just going to check. And so I checked, and homeboy that bought it and tried to sell it to me coughed it up. And there it is. Unpuckered.com for 3 years, $80 is in my cart. And I'm getting the fucking feels, Ryan Sprague. I'm like, this is a good thing. Okay. And so I buy it. And I make the post in the community. I make the post on social that unpuckered.com has come back to its rightful heir.
Yes, dude.
And then I talked to Adam in the afternoon for about an hour and a half. And that was one of the last things we talked about. And he goes, I'm messaging Dave Ray about this. The Unpuckered theme song. Oh. That motherfucker had the theme song, the Unpuckered theme song, delivered to us 9 a.m. this morning. I want to play it for you right now.
Dude,
it's hilarious.
Please.
I'm going to take off. Yeah, I'm going to take off my headset. I hope it still comes through.
Yeah, I'll let you know if it's coming through. Yeah.
This is Dave Ray's. Can you hear me, Brian?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. This is Dave Ray's first version of the Unpuckered theme song.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
If a story makes you pucker up, you better get unpuckered. Got a story you want to shut up. You better get unpuckered if you feel constricted like a boa. You better get unpuckered, better get your ducks into a row up. And get unpuckered, the unpuckering begins. The unpuckering begins. If you got a story that makes you pucker up, you gotta get unpuckered. If you got a story that you want to shut up, then get unpuckered when your breath is caught up in this. You gotta get unpuckered, unlock that shit, breathe as the process. Then get unpuckered, unpuckered begins. The unpuckering begins. Unpucker that sphincters, feel the breath of life. Things getting clearer like Rambo.
Dude.
Over the knife.
Like Rambo. With a knife. Get unpuckered. Get yourself unpuckered. Gotta get unpuckered. Get yourself unpuckered.
Dude, that is unbelievable. I think that's the best one he's done so far, because I've heard all the ones, the low and slow song, which you guys play at the beginning of every Unlifted show now, right? Is that accurate? Is that the one? Or
I think so, yeah. With something like that, people fucking talk about it.
You got unpuckered.com. You got Dave to make a fucking unpuckered theme song. And dude, like, this kid is the theme song master. I've been telling him, I'm like, dude, you have a career path and just going around to different businesses and being like, you want me to gamify and create a song out of your whole brand? I mean, it's fucking awesome and it's so fun.
Dude, I just sent,
it's hilarious.
I just sent you the unpuckered theme song.
Perfect. Is it on Spotify? Because I'll put it in the show notes for everyone to check out too.
I don't think so. I mean, dude, he did it this morning.
I'll tell Dave to throw it on Spotify because we're going to put it in the show notes. You know, we'll make him accountable. Dave, put unpuckered.
And you know, here's something about being funny. You got to be around people that laugh at your shit. So Dave Ray around a bunch of like super woke fucking leftist mother, they're not going to fucking laugh at that guy.
No, they're going to get so puckered.
Yeah,
hearing anything.
Yeah.
Anything that he would joke about.
Yeah, like people that are really uptight and like just puckered. Yeah, exactly. So when he walked into our crew, it was a perfect fit, and I'm pretty damn sure he was just thrilled beyond measure that finally he can be himself.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's how we kind of all felt, you know. Like speaking, I'll speak for everyone else. Like, you know, meeting you guys and realizing, like, oh, wait a minute, like this world, because like I've told the story a couple of times, but maybe not everywhere on the show, but. You know, my life has been a series of me thinking I've found my tribe. You know, when I was a kid, it was, you know, metal. And I thought I found my tribe there. And I still love metal and everything. But, you know, it was kind of like when I would go to shows, everyone was so serious watching the music, you know, and I was like, this isn't that fun. Then I found the EDM community and raving. And I was like, this is my place. And, you know, it was great because everyone was like, oh, I'm an anarchist, you know, blah, blah, blah. They were also the first to roll up the sleeves and be like, did you get your vaccine? And I was like, I think something went wrong.
Suckers.
We all took acid together, guys, you know, like, did you not take enough? Like, I don't know how you didn't see what I've seen, but regardless, then I find kind of the spiritual community and I'm like, oh, this will be my people. And then now, like, they don't really know how to have fun. Like, their whole life is just healing and whatever. And again, I'm not there to judge it, but I am there to discern and be like, that isn't fun. Like, healing's what happens when it needs to happen. Like the same way that a fireman doesn't go out looking for fires, they just wait for the call to come in. You know, why are so many people out there spending thousands of dollars to go try to cry with strangers? You know, it just doesn't make any sense. I'm like, you know, I'm not invalidating the fact that trauma happens or whatever. Like, all of that can be true along with what we're saying here, which is that, you know, the same way that why do we use a mantra when we meditate? Well, because we understand that there's this pesky thing that won't really let us really see what's going on, right? So we have to use this mantra to keep our monkey mind busy while our real soul clicks in and goes astral traveling or whatever. And so, you know what all this is, right? Hanging out with your friends, shooting guns, connecting with psychedelics intentionally, having fun, all these things they're a mantra of sorts. And whatever's meant to come out when you're naturally having a really good time, whatever is meant to come out will come out. And this all really clicked for me during a psilocybin experience I had a couple of years ago with Rachel, where I had been, it was probably 2022. And I had been like, you know, around a lot of these inner child healing retreats and whatever, and they just weren't working for me. So I thought. So I then started to form a story that, oh my God, my trauma must be so deep. I must be really fucked up, you know, because everyone there is like, what's going on? Everyone else is crying. You're not crying. Like, what's going on? And I'm like, I don't know, you know. And so I ended up having this psilocybin experience where I was like, I need to learn how to cry again. Like, that's my issue. I don't know how to cry. I can't cry. All right. And then during this experience, I had done 5-MeO about a month beforehand and didn't understand about reactivation. So when I did this 10-gram mushroom tea with Rachel, we got fucking slammed, dude. Fucking slammed, bro. So slammed. I mean, bro, it was probably the most incredible psychedelic experience of my life, you know, and there was some really weird things that happened. And by weird, I mean actually completely contextual if you live life like we do. But, you know, I had this cat for years, this cat Binks, and he was like my ride or die. And, you know, during that experience, whenever I would trip, I would be laying on my back in my bed with an eye mask on, and he would lay right on my chest and just stare into my eyes. And we just had this deep connection. And during that experience, I started to see into past lifetimes and saw that we were lovers in a past lifetime, which was very interesting. I was like, okay, well, that, you know, fills in a couple of gaps. And so I was having this beautiful experience, just talking to my higher self, the Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it. And all of a sudden, that whole story hit me. And in that moment, I was laughing so hard because I was like, dude, laughter is crying. And then in that moment, it inverted and I started crying my eyes out. But like, not from like a sad point, but from like do you see how actually the way that you emote this stuff is through laughter? And laughter and crying, you might see them as different in the world of condition. But when you zoom out into oneness, they're actually the same thing. They're opposite sides of the same spectrum. So like, if you want to understand hot, you have to understand what cold feels like. If you've never experienced cold, you don't really know what hot is. You know, so unless you've experienced laughter, you don't really know what crying is. And if you've never experienced crying, you don't know what real laughter is. That's why you can laugh until you cry until you laugh. Like, the signs were all there the whole time. But during that experience, I realized there's a lot that people aren't talking about in the healing space, which is exactly what we're talking about. When you get with your homies and you laugh hysterically, especially as a man, you know, I imagine women have this too, but as men, when you are good at like, you know, picking on each other in a fun way, everyone's got thick skin, they can handle it. And we don't mind being the butt of a joke because we have enough self-confidence and self-worth to not take it so seriously, right? We're all goofballs here. And when we can all have fun like that and we double over in laughter, I mean, dude, when I would come to the lake house and we would, you know, connect with some medicines and whatever, and we'd be laughing so hard. I would go home. One lung, dude. We would go home and I would be so light, dude.
Set for months,
dude. That was literally my traumatic releases, was going down to the lake house, you know, hanging out with people, maybe taking some medicine, some cannabis, etc., having hilarious times. And you know what's great about those kind of environments is a couple of times, you know, someone might actually have something come up. And in that moment, we all know exactly what to do. We just center around them. We help them with their story. Within 10, 15 minutes, they're laughing again, and it's all good. And that's the way this could look. And that's when I realized it's kind of like this analogy. Most people forget when they're building a race car that the reason they chose to build a race car wasn't to sit in the garage and build it all the time and be scared about when it's going to break and keep buying new parts and be afraid to get rain on it. It's to take it on the fucking drag track, do a burnout, and go see how fast you can do a quarter mile. And maybe you blow a fucking valve or whatever, but you're also the mechanic. You know how to fix it. So at what point are we going to stop actually just spending all of our time trying to heal and just go out and actually perform from it, you know? And by perform, I mean, like, go live your life, go do what you're on the planet to do. And that's like what the reel I put up today is all about, was like, there comes a point where it stops being your identity. Like, you stop being the mechanic that's always working on the car and you become the racer, you know? And the mechanic thing becomes a secondary to get you back on the track. And that's kind of how I look at healing these days is, you know, like you said, the more I focus on the fact that I have trauma, guess what? The more trauma I now have, not because I inherently had it, but because I'm placing my intention and focus as the creator of my reality, as God and human drag, on this idea that I have trauma. So guess what I'm giving life and attention to? This idea I have trauma. So guess what happens? I then have more trauma, but not because I actually have trauma, but because I keep believing I do. And the second you realize that if you just obliterate the story, it's gone. Like it doesn't come back again. And that's kind of where I like to put my focus. You know, again, anyone can do it their own way, but once you see it that way, there's no going back. Dude, to me anyway.
I mean, we have a term for that and then lifted. It's called rummaging. Rummaging, rummaging, as you just keep going back into the fucking stuck and suck. There's got to be this one thing that's keeping me from moving forward and shining and being good forever. And I'm gonna go rummage around in all these stories. I'm gonna find that one thing. And then, guess what? All my friends are doing the same thing. So we're trauma bonded around trauma, and that's what we do. And then then you're really fucked when you get yourself in a community like that. No, everybody, hey, listen. There's a difference between healed and healed enough. My recommendation is go for healed enough, so you can go out there and enjoy your life. Don't worry about being healed. Focus on being healed enough. My dad said it. He was a good football player back in the day. He said, if you can't fight, if you can't train, if you play, that's right. He said, if you can't play hurt, you can't play. And that was very true in my fight career. I was always banged up because it's the fucking fight game. And if I couldn't fight hurt, I couldn't fight. So I didn't need to be healed. I needed to be healed enough. And most people are waiting for them to be good or perfect, worse, to go out there and do the goddamn thing. And that's a slick form of imposter syndrome, is perfection syndrome. I'm going to wait till everything's perfect and then I'm going to go do it. No, you mean you're not going to go do it. All you need to be is good enough or ready. I'm going to wait till I'm ready. No, ready enough. Ready enough. And
exactly.
Yeah, dude, I worked with a guy that, he used to jerk off on his cat. He used to jerk off on his cat because it was just easier than like a sock or like jerking off on his stomach and then wiping it off or something like that.
My God.
Oh yeah, seriously. And I'm talking about cats and lovers, and it would get crusty and it was like a long-haired Himalayan, and his mom would comb it out.
God.
Like this happened a lot. His mom would like comb it out and he would never say anything.
Oh my God, dude. This is the most diabolical story of all time, bro.
Yeah,
dude.
And he felt bad about it when he was an adult, but yeah.
Oh my God.
That's like when he first started jerking off, he'd fucking spunk on his cat.
Oh my God, dude. Did you have to story work him on that?
Yeah. I've been doing this shit 18 years. I've heard some crazy shit.
Dude, holy shit, bro. There are some wild stories out there, dude. And, you know, at the end of the day, like, where you put your attention, energy flows. And like you were saying, you know, and I fell into this too at a certain point in my life, but like outcome-driven consciousness versus process-driven consciousness, like actually believing there's going to be an end goal to any of this. Like, this is all one big gaslight from the ego, what we're experiencing here. The ego is trying to run from God, so it created this world that makes you think it's very real, and these 8 billion different selves that are really all just you in different drag. And so the whole nature of this universe is a gaslight. So if you really want to understand the universe, you got to understand what gaslighting really is, which is the idea of, hey, at the end of the day, whatever I choose to believe, I become. But not because it actually is, but because I believe it. And the believing of it is what gives it actual value. You know, that's kind of like the Harry Potter analogy, right? Like, most people are like, why is my life going terrible? As they're just like fucking annihilating the world with their wand. because they're just like eyes closed, like, I don't know what I'm doing. This is all the world's fault, not mine. And at some point, they start to get into healing, and they're like, okay, at some point, I'm going to be healed. And so then they start to go for this outcome. And because they connect with other people on that same level of consciousness to keep thinking there's an outcome, well, until I get to this outcome, I can't go do what I'm put on the planet to do, or I can't go get the new job. I can't find the perfect partner, whatever it is. And so at the end of the day, that is what leads to all of this stuff, you know, because people don't know the first principle of reality, which is the all is mind, aka all is God. So at the end of the day, you know, it's like one of the things that's really just like got me confused is a lot of the spiritual community returning to Christianity. And I'm like, I'm not judging. I just have no idea how you found yourself back there. Because a true non-dualist, like someone like a Jesus or Buddha, would have never wanted to create a religion. Because religion is rules for a dream that isn't real. Like, it's all conditional. And you can't understand unconditional, aka real God, or mind, whatever you want to call it, in the world of condition, aka black, white, up, down duality, right? And so it's just interesting how other aspects of me get themselves stuck in these positions, you know? And there's a certain point, like we're talking about, where you just learn to kind of laugh at all of it. You know, you laugh at the times that you've been in that, you know, phase. You laugh with the other people that are also in that phase that maybe don't believe they're in that phase, you know, that aren't aware enough yet to realize that they're the one with the wand making all these beliefs. You know, that's like the thing with the vegan diet too, you know, or any carnivore diet, whatever you want to say. It's like, guys, there is no right or wrong, okay? But the more that you're out there actually saying, this is the only way, it just shows me you don't really believe it. Because if you really believed it, you wouldn't need to tell anyone about it. You wouldn't need to convince or persuade anyone, you know? So it's fucking fascinating, dude. It really is.
Yeah. You know, learning how to cry is a thing too. You know,
Yeah.
I don't hear that talked about much. And I don't hear the villain mentality talked about much. It's always the victim.
Yeah.
I'll elaborate on both of those things.
Please.
So you heard the story of my dad passing 2 years ago, and you know, I pronounced him dead. And I didn't tell anybody for 5-6 days because I had to go to work. I chose to go to work. I got to go to work, and that's what he would have wanted. And you know, 4 hours later, after pronouncing him dead, I was on the Power Monkey podcast. They didn't know. Nobody knew. And I taught all my classes. I made all the team meetings. I did all the sessions. And then Tuesday night, so it happened on a Thursday morning. Tuesday night, went over to Adam and Vanda's, and they were the first people I told. And then, you know, the beat goes on. And I only cried about him once. And it happened here at the farmhouse. I was walking around the corner going to the back. It was at night. I was the only person here. Walking around the corner going back to the back bathroom. And it was like just somebody just punched me right in the fucking nose, dude. And the heaving, the grief, the emotion, the loss, the heat, and all like legit 10 out of 10 crying. And I stayed on my feet. And I had the capacity, the wherewithal to stay on my feet. Because if you think about it, crying wants to double you up.
Yeah.
It wants you that infantile crying, heaving, it wants you to go fetal. Okay. When do you cry the most in your life? When you're a kid, when you're fetal. Okay. So, let's think positionally here about crying. Whoever talks about that shit. How about you stand on your feet? And I stood on my feet and I stayed up and I made sure my chest was wide and shoulders back. And it's a very strange experience. I've only done it once since then. Or I've only done it that time. I haven't cried like that since then. And so I haven't had a second experience with it, but it was bizarre to heave at full blast, standing up with looking at the ceiling with my chin up, because I was thinking as it was going on, what's the most strong posture that I can get in while this is happening. And that's what I chose to do. I've never cried like that in my life. I've never had an experience like that in my life. I haven't cried about it like that since. And it was, and I hear the words of soft talk. It was like some kind of hot armor got welded into my chest. Mm-hmm. And I walked out of that experience different. So when you all are healing the part like you're crying, don't fucking, and I will never, I'm saying this publicly, I will never cry on my knees unless I'm captured or wounded. I will never cry on my fucking knees. I will never cry on the couch. I will only cry standing up. And then there's the villain mentality. It's so easy to hey, motherfuckers, how about when you all were the villain? How about we do a retreat on dismantling the villain mentality? Because guess what? Everybody, myself included, has got plenty of villain stories, and nobody wants to touch those. It's so easy to go into the victim mentality and talk about when you were wronged and all those things, and talk about performative, healing and stuff. When I did TCS, I'd been in this fucking game for a while, and I was like, yeah, there's something not quite right about me right now. I understand that. And I went to TCS and I've never told this publicly. I went to TCS, and I think I was the last person to go.
Share.
Yeah, to share at the very beginning. I'm like, listen, I got a bunch of villain shit I want to get off my chest. I was like when I wouldn't call my mother when she was dying of cancer because I just didn't feel like dealing with it. Mm-hmm. Going into stories like that. Here's a good one. So 2009, at the time, this was right around when the raw food diet started to die down. I was in the middle of that shit when it was peak raw food world, David Wolf-ness, and there were these people called the Botenkos, and they were doing this green smoothie cleanse, this week-long green smoothie cleanse in Thailand. And dude, they would make these fucking cauldrons of green smoothies, dude, as in coconut water, fruit, and leaves. Coconut water, fruit, and leaves. Guess what was for breakfast? Green smoothies. Guess what was for lunch? Green smoothies. As much as you want. Guess what? If you get a little hungry before dinner, green smoothies. Oh, it's dinner time. Green smoothies. And dude, you're shitting like a dog, dude. I don't think it's good for you, but at the time it was a fad, and I was very experimental back then. And they brought in this fucking murderer of a practitioner of the work of Byron Katie. This woodworker named Tom from Bend, Oregon. And Tom gave absolutely no fucks. And there's 30 people all over Southeast Asia and Australia converge on this place and have some green smoothies for breakfast. And now it's Tom time. First Tom time. Everybody walks in. He hands everybody, didn't even say hello, hands everybody a clipboard and goes, I want you to write down the worst thing that you've ever done and what it means about you, and then get up on stage and say it.
Whew. That'll pucker you.
Bro, people were going fucking mental, and they were saying shit. Now, I said shit. Drop fucking nuke villain bombs, bro. People were up there. It felt like I was sweating electricity. Yeah, you want like that's the real heavy lifting, in my opinion. Yeah. Most of the time, I'm going to give myself some wiggle room. Most of the time, it's that villain shit. Go get the villain shit out. Go to one of those healing retreats and talk about your villain shit when everybody's talking about getting bullied.
Mm-hmm. And see how much everyone puckers up, and you realize, wait a minute, I guess that most people are not comfortable talking about a lot of the real shit, that haunts you. You know, you guys talk about the 3 levels, annoying, hurting, or haunting. I think if most of us really dove into what haunts us, it's the times we've been, in hindsight, very out of alignment. But at the same time, I always remember something Paul Chek says, which is great spirit is down for whatever, and I'll say something that's extremely probably controversial, but those who get it will understand. If you look at any horrible person, all right, that's lived, whether it's, I don't know, Mussolini, Hitler, whoever it is, okay? Someone that's done atrocities or allegedly, whatever, who knows? So then you look at someone like Gandhi or Jesus, right? Most people would say Jesus or, Gandhi is better than those other people, all right? And in a 3D plane, in the world of the illusion, the dream of condition, I could understand why someone would say that. But the thing that a lot of people don't understand and also probably don't want to understand and don't want to accept is that if you zoom out and you look at infinity, what would infinity's only game be? To play the game of finiteness. And so in the game of finiteness, it's all valid in the eyes of creator. If you think about a video game, if I go play Grand Theft Auto and I'm running over people in the game, do I feel bad about that? No. But if I was in that game, when you're playing the game, the cops come after you, like there's some people in the game that don't like what you're doing, right? But when I put down that controller, it was all just valid in the eyes of creator, right? And so, again, like at the end of the day, I think that you're on to something there with the villain aspect for sure. Because, if we really want to understand ourselves, most of us enjoy when we can think of ourselves as, a good person, et cetera, et cetera. But within all of us is the ability to be an axe murderer. Okay. And
completely.
To do any of the stuff. And so we can't really understand the totality of what we truly are if we don't play in the shadow. And shadow work gets a lot of publicity, but they're not doing this shit. No shadow work I've ever seen has been this. It's usually more the victim mindset, which is valuable, but it's kind of like this. It's kind of like microdosing versus macrodosing. Microdosing, if you're not aware and you've never macrodosed, all microdosing will do is help you deal with your shitty government job better, okay? But if you take a macrodose, you're going to see a lot of shit that maybe you didn't see before. And that can be alarming to a lot of people, but if you really want to get like the huge benefit, for me anyway, I can speak personally, the microdoses wouldn't mean anything to me if I hadn't had the macrodoses. And so when you think about, self-development work or, anything we're talking mindset work, embodiment work, whatever the fuck you want to call this stuff, when you're thinking about that, the macrodose is the villain story because it's so much more uncomfortable for anyone to talk about. And right there, the friction tells you it's a bigger dose. That's what tells you. Because what happens before you eat a 0.1 of mushrooms? I just eat it. What happens before you do 10 grams? I don't know about this. I don't know. And so it's, again, how we do anything is how we do everything. So yeah, it's fucking wild, dude.
I'm very open about it too. My villainous nature. People notice that about me. Okay. I keep it under control. I'm a mean motherfucker. Okay. Mm-hmm. I keep it on a short leash. I'm not ashamed of it. I tried to, meditate it out, fast it out, supplement it out, fucking Ibogaine it out, cry it out. That shit ain't going nowheres. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I like it. Honestly, I like it. It has a purpose to serve. Everlast said that this darkness still has a purpose to serve. I'm not trying to do a goddamn thing with it. And therein lies. It's like I was talking to Adam about this. When you met me, I was when did we meet for the first time?
August of 2020. Well, I mean, that's when we met in person the first time, but January 2020 is when we first connected.
Yeah, that's when I was going into the drunkest phase of my life. Mm-hmm. And I did that on purpose. With a hope, really. I didn't know how it was going to turn out. I thought I did, and I was right. And so there's a couple of Taoist sayings that if you want to finish something, let it flourish. It's very hard for the Western mind to get their mind around this, much less enact it. or if you want to weaken something, you must first strengthen it. And I've always enjoyed drinking. And I was like, you know what? And I also could see where Lifted was starting to go or could go. And I'm like, man, I got to get this fucking out of my system. Not completely. But I need to do something with this. And you know what? AA doesn't sound fun, or abstinence doesn't sound fun. I'm not an AA kind of guy.
Same.
But I was like, I'm going to make this goddamn shit worse, dude. I'm going to make this fucking worse. And I drank and worked. I drank a 12-pack of Guinness every night for 3 years. I mean, you saw the effect of it. You were there, like basically the early stages of it. And I was like, I'm gonna inflame this and see what happens. And I might not make it out, or I might ruin my reputation enough to where. And I'm like, you know what? It's a fucking guess. It's a bet. It's a fucking bet. And when at the beginning stages of my adulthood, I was very irresponsible with my martial arts. I was doing the wrong stuff with the wrong energy. Yeah. Okay. And then I get banged up, can't fight no more. And then I get into the quote unquote healing space, and I'm doing the quote unquote right things with the wrong energy. I was a seething motherfucker. I did not want to be on the yoga mat. I didn't want to be doing the breath work. I wanted to be in the Thai boxing gym and setting up fights. And so I'm doing the right stuff with the wrong energy. And then I'm like, okay, well, that only got me so far. I'm going to go do the wrong stuff with the right energy. I went in, I let myself goddamn have it. I was like, bro, as much as you want, as much as you fucking want. And one of the reasons that the Enlifted method, we don't tell anybody anything. We don't tell anybody how to live the life. We don't give any advice. It's just, hey, go get the stories, air it out, play with some words, see what works for them. It's no advice. It's not answers at all. It's all. So
that's what I love about you guys and that method.
Thank you. Thank you.
Best.
Thank you. So I'm not having to be the example of anything except for someone that knows how to torque wrenches. Okay. It's like the best mechanic in town. You don't need them to be look like Adonis, or you don't even need them to be a good person. Just, can you fix my fucking car? Yeah. Oh, this guy's over here the best. So it's the same thing with stories. And so I was doing the wrong things. And I was laughing so much. I was fucking having a good time. I wasn't giving myself any shit about anything. And so just being really kind to myself while I'm drinking enough Guinness to float a battleship around. And then, and what I was, that's actually a play on Leonard Skinner. I drank enough whiskey to float a battleship around.
Skinner, bro.
Skinner,
best.
love him. And then I was hoping, which it has, get into a phase where I'm doing the righter things or the better things with better energy. So it's the good stuff, as in, dude, Mike Salemi, shout out to fucking, I've been swinging kettlebells with that guy for 21 months now, almost 22.
He's amazing. Bro.
He's amazing.
Mike Salemi's a gem, dude. He's a gem of a human.
Dude, such a good kettlebell coach too. And you know, my taste for booze is way down, has been for a long time. I don't really even think about it that much. I just, you know, I like smoking cigarettes, but that whatever. So did Alan Watts.
I like my tobacco too.
Yeah. And now it's I'm doing better things. I don't even want to call it good. I'm doing better things with good energy. And that quadrant that I just laid out right there, you got to go into the shadow worlds. You got to go into the shadow worlds and loosen up while you're in there.
You do.
Because if you go into the shadow worlds and pucker up while you're in there, you're not coming out with the pearls.
Yeah, 100%.
It's fucking hard to do.
Joseph Campbell said it best. In the cave you fear most to enter holds the treasure you seek. And I think a lot of times, at least for me, when I thought about that quote, you know, early on when I first heard it, it was like, oh yeah, like, you know, building the business or whatever. And it's like, well, yes, that could be true, but also like this what we're talking about. And, you know, it's funny, man, because I learned that as a kid, you know, what you were talking about how like the reason why I got so healthy when I was 19 and had my mortality crisis is because there was nothing left for me in the land of unhealthiness. I had explored all of it. I had literally, and I don't know if I've ever shared this on a podcast, just so you guys can realize I haven't always been highly optimized, but when I was like probably 12 to about 16, that era, I became obsessed with Mountain Dew. Like, I mean, obsessed. And I would get 3 liters of Mountain Dew a day, and I would drink all of it.
Nice.
And half the reason was because I was getting constipated, and I didn't know why. I was like 12. And so my mom brought me to the doctor, and they tried to get me on prune juice, and that was just like god awful, dude. Prune juice is terrible. And I felt like I was like, all my friends were like, oh, I used to drink prune juice. And I'm like, shut up. I'm like 12 years old. So then I find Mountain Dew, and it helps me. You know, it's caffeine, right? But I like literally remember like being in the shower when I was probably like 13 or 14 with my heart pounding, dude, because I had drank so much fucking caffeine. But I stayed doing that for 4 years or more. And in that time, I'm also having a lot of Jolt. You know, if you remember Jolt,
I used to drink Jolt.
Energy drinks. Dude, the big cans, bro, the big metal cans, and they came out later and they go poof when you'd open it up. You know, I actually had a friend go to the emergency room when we were around 16. We did a Jolt chugging competition. And this is this girl that was a vegetarian back when, like, you know, at least for me, it was probably like when it was big, but the internet wasn't really big, so I didn't know. So, you know, she was very small, pale, like kind of most vegans anyway, you know, like very weak, if you will. And I don't say that as like a diss, just like, you know, she wasn't the strongest person. Her bones didn't have the biggest density to them, whatever you want to say. And so we drank 2 Jolts, and these are like the big cans, like the big cans. And she ended up having to go to the ER. She was fine, but like she had a caffeine overdose basically and was having like crazy heart palpitations. And I didn't even get it. I didn't even feel it anymore at that point. We were also going through a lot of these energy drinks called balls. They were in this glass bottle. There was this place in my house,
BALZ,
right? Yeah, exactly. And there was this place near like 20 minutes from me, from my parents' house, called the QWERTY, like the QWERTY keyboard. And what it was like a Counter-Strike LAN type little place that like kids would go. It was the best setup. There was an abandoned building right behind it that used to be called Panda Express. It was a Chinese place. So we'd go break into there and smoke weed. And then we'd go to Papagino's, get buffalo chicken tenders. And then we'd go hang out all night because they do lock-ins or lockdowns back when lockdowns were cool. And they do a lockdown where it basically was all kids. So, you know, the parents would all be like, all right, you know, like they're going to stay here the entire night and just like drink balls, energy drinks, and play Counter-Strike. And so that's what we used to do. And so like I would be eating so many Sour Patch Kids. I mean, the sour watermelon slices were like my go-to. Hot fries, pizza rolls, bagel bites. I mean, all the things. And so by the time I got healthy, I had gone deep enough in there to be like, there's nothing left for me. But, you know, again, what I realized at that age was you got to let yourself kind of like,
got to have it,
you know, within reason. Like if you're doing fentanyl, yeah, you might want to fucking not go into it that deep. But, you know, like with these things that aren't going to kill you the first time, like those kind of things, like, yes, go into it, play with it a little bit, find what's there, find the reasons that a part of you is wanting to go there, you know, because it's like this, it's almost like, you know, in going into your addictive behaviors, you can actually learn why you're actually experiencing that, like what the root is. But if you just keep trying to avoid it, you're just going to want it more. And the wanting of it's going to make you fall off way harder than if you just let yourself have it until it's out of your system.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with that, man, based on my experience anyway. Yeah. Fucking powerful, dude.
I agree, man. It's a bold maneuver. I don't recommend it. I don't not recommend it. It's like, you know, I don't have all that much experience with plant medicines, but I do have some with some. And people are like, hey, should I do fill in the blank? I'm like, I don't know. Are you pulled? If the pull is there, maybe. If the pull is not there, I mean, why?
Yeah, exactly. Just to like make it
say
way
that
harder
you did
to do daily activities. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
You came back and did your 14th ayahuasca retreat. Now you're cool. You weren't cool at 13. Now you're cool at 14.
Yeah. Now you're super rad, you know?
Yeah. I didn't know how rad you were until you got into double digits.
Yeah. It's, you know, that was the thing for me is like, you know, when I got into the EDM community, When I was in metal, I never followed bands that were big enough like Metallica, or obviously Pantera wasn't around anymore. But if I had, I probably would have heard the same things that I still remember, dude. I was at the Songus Arena. Okay. It was 2014. It was 2014, September of 2014. I had just tried MDMA for the first time in June that year at EDC and in Las Vegas. And so this is my second time ever doing MDMA. And I'm going to a Bass Nectar show. Now, I know some people might be cringing. Okay, this is way before he was allegedly whatever the fucking weird shit he did. So anyway, he was like a cult following dude, like the Dead, but make it electronic and bass. That was literally what Bass Nectar was back then. And so I remember being in the bathroom, and I go outside to wait for whatever friend I was waiting for. And I hear this girl like, yeah, I've seen Nectar like 65 times now. And like other people were like, whoa, did you see him in Okeechobee? Like, and I remember that whole thing, right? I remember that, all right? Like, I remember that whole conversation.
Okeechobee.
And to be honest, it fit there, okay? Like, it actually, like, it might have been cringy to me or whatever, but like, it fit there, okay? Like, yeah, like, cool, brag about it. Where it doesn't fit is when people are treating ayahuasca that way. And it's always ayahuasca. Like, no one really flexes on how many times they've done mushrooms. Maybe if you're at a Dead concert, someone might flex on how many times they've done acid, but it's usually ayahuasca. It's like, well,
why is that?
And the people that will say that will always pronounce it ayahuasca,
Or call it grandmother.
Like,
why is it ayahuasca?
I have no idea. I honestly don't know. I think if I had to take a wild guess, it's, how do I say this in a way?
Piss some people off, man. Let's have some fun.
All right. It's people that have white guilt, and they want to go down to the jungle and seem like they're supporting indigenous people. And so they try to make themselves into this version of them that, is just like, oh my God, I'm going down there and I'm having medicine work. And, again, like, as someone who works in the realm of psychedelics, guys, I'm not trying to diss psychedelics here, but what I am saying is that it's a little cringy, okay? It's a little cringy. And it's also just like stupid to me, because if you have to go do something 65 times, at what point do you ask yourself, is this the most efficient way? Or what am I working towards here? Like, unless you're a shaman, like if you're training to be a shaman, okay, like someone like Hamilton Souther, all right? That dude has done ayahuasca over 10,000 times, but it's not a flex for him. He just had to do that to become to apprentice and then actually become a shaman. That dude's got some crazy stories, bro. You want to hear some fucking sick shit, dude? He almost got murdered so many times down there. The first time he entered the jungle, he's like this white guy, he's 18, and he goes down there and he's meeting people in the village. And one guy walks up to him, he's like, I'm going to kill you. And Hamilton's like, funny. He's like, no, I'm serious, dude. I'm going to fucking kill you. And this guy tried to kill him like 3 times down there, like crazy shit. So like, if you're doing that, okay, you can say, like, yes, I've done it this many times because I'm doing this. But it's like, just, all that shit is just, I'm just kind of over it, dude. Like, I'm at the point where I'm like, listen, dude, like, we're here to actually do stuff. I'm not here to work on my car 24/7. The whole reason I have a car is to go drive and have experiences. Yeah. So that's really where I'm focusing now. It's just like, cool. When I get the ping, I'll jump behind the veil or have some fun with friends with psychedelics or whatever, because, this is one thing I wanted to say too. It's like, yes, intention matters. Yes, being conscious matters. Yeah, it matters. Okay. But also, I've had a lot of fucking fun taking acid at music festivals with friends that someone on the outside looking in would be like, that's not exactly spiritual. Well, those experiences have been life-changing for me too. So I want to start a movement to make psychedelics fun again. Okay. Because they're already serious enough. All right. We should bring some fun back into them. All right. Straight up. That's my mic drop. So yeah, bro. Fuck.
When are we hanging out again?
Dude, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it down for Thanksgiving, only because I get back from Mexico November 1st. On November 9th, Rachel's going to Utah, and on the 17th, I go to Austin. So I was talking to Adam, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull it off. But if we do anything for New Year's, 100% I'm there. 100%. Okay. If we do anything for December or whatever, I'd be down, like whenever that kind of time period is. If you guys were going to do the Thanksgiving after Thanksgiving, I could totally make it down for that and New Year's. But I don't know, if you guys can or whatever. So that'll be the only one that I ever have missed. I'll be so bummed, but I totally get it. It just is what it is. I got to prep for this podcast I'm going on when I go to Austin, but
Yeah, it was short notice too. Adam asked, and I got clearance. What podcast are you going on?
Mr. Aubrey Marcus again.
You're going on Aubrey Marcus again.
I'm going on Aubrey, dude. Yep. Locked it in. Yep. So that's going to be fucking fun.
Connect with cannabis or?
Yeah. I'm kind of talking about, I gave him an outline that, I realized last time I went on, I was pretty much an infant back then. Like I only had Connect with Cannabis. So since then I've created Grow with Cannabis, Expand with Cannabis, Clarity with Cannabis, Coach with Cannabis, Breathe with Cannabis, like so many with fucking cannabis as I, get confused. But so basically what I want to really talk to him about is the whole breathwork angle with cannabis and story work. Like that's really what I've been centering more into, bro, is how simple it is to just mix cannabis, story work, and breathwork together. It's so simple. People have life-changing fucking experiences. So we'll talk about that. And then God knows what. We may dive into, if he brings up anything about religion, I'll definitely share my thoughts about religion being rules for a dream that isn't real. I'm kind of just like, well, we'll see where this goes, because we covered a lot of like the basics in the first one, but I mean, that one is still his most popular podcast he's ever done. So I'm fucking stoked to do round 2. It'll be cool.
Congrats, buddy.
So thanks.
Congratulations.
Man. I'm really excited. Hell yeah. Thank you. I was just talking to Kyle Kingsbury earlier too, and he let me know. He's like, yeah, I just wrapped up with Mark. It was fucking awesome. I'm like, yeah, it's so funny. I'm literally hopping on with Mark in 10 minutes. So we're in such a fun bubble, dude, of awesome fucking people everywhere you look, dude. I literally could throw a coin and hit fucking 10 amazing world-class people. You're one of them. Adam's one of them. Dave Ray's one of them. Kyle Kingsbury, Cal, like just like all these people we've met, dude. It's really fucking wild. And for everyone tuning in, I've told you guys a little bit about how much Mark has meant to me, how much he's opened up in my life. And now you guys get to really fucking hear the full Monty of how much fucking fun we have. And all I want to say is this can be you too. This can be you too. All right. There's nothing we have that you don't have except the ability to say yes, maybe before we're ready, because that's what you did for me. Like when I first joined and lifted, I remember I was terrified of ever thinking that I was going to host calls or be a coach or whatever. And I was like, I'm just taking this from me. And you're like, nah, you're going to be a coach. And I was like, we'll see about that. And then halfway through, I was like, well, maybe I could do one-on-one. And then by the time I ended, I was like, I think I want to do group, and then, I found my first paying client ever. I still work with him today off and on every once in a while.
No shit.
Tune up. Yeah. His name's Dave. He's also a Dave. You'll love this guy. I've been trying to get him down. Hopefully next time he'll be able to come down maybe for New Year's. Great guy, dude. Amazing tattoo artist as well. He lives in Gettysburg, bro, of all places.
Interesting.
I just actually met him for the first time in person after 6 years. We went to Shilla Jam together, that Shillajit festival. I think I might have told you about, or someone else told about, but that's where you're going to meet the other guy, Ron. Ron is a new homie that you will fucking love, dude. He's totally one of us. He runs, he's the largest wholesaler of Shillajit in the country. And that's who, I won't announce it here.
I've done nothing to say,
Yeah. But there may be a hilarious side quest opening up in my life in terms of a company. And let's just say it has to do with something. I mean, you know what it is. Adam fucking laughed his ass off when I told him about it. You guys will hear soon enough, but
dude, I'm taking, so I haven't purchased any new gas station dick pills in probably 18 months. There was a period of 2 years there where I was buying.
Oh yeah, dude, you were collecting them. It was like Pokemon. Got to catch them all. And I'm taking my gas station dick pill collection down to Nick and Dulce's wedding, and I'm spreading them out everywhere. I'm gonna find a couple of hot girls to take and just like hand these out. It's gonna be fucking hilarious, dude. I've already gotten clearance to do it. That is so fucking funny, dude. And for everyone listening, picture this, okay? It's my first time coming to the lake house ever, August 2020. I get out of the car, I see Mark, I walk inside, someone's making a pitcher of margaritas. And there's like a board there kind of saying like, hey, here's where you're sleeping, yada, yada. Like, it's kind of like a rundown of the events. And, I'm seeing all these people I've seen through Zoom screens for the past year. Leo Savage is there, fucking being hilarious. That guy's awesome. And I look on the dining room table, and there's just like 50 dick pills. And I'm like, immediately like, what are these for? What? Did I miss a memo of what's going to happen here? I mean, this is a men's retreat too, guys. Like we're just men hanging out. And so then I found out that's one of your hilarious things, bro. And immediately I knew this is my crew. Because if people can show up and laugh at that and not get puckered or triggered or whatever, it's fucking hilarious because they are hilarious. Like, I recommend everyone go look up what these dick pills in the gas stations are actually made. Like, there's one, Make America Hard Again. Like, they're comic gold, dude. Actually,
thank you. That's the exact word, comic gold. Can we close with the story of my first gas station dick pill?
Please, dude.
So
let's go.
So I'm driving from the farm into Richmond on Route 60, and there's a BP over on the side of the road, coming up a little bit, and I stop and I get some gas station coffee because I like gas station coffee, and it's and there's this woman behind the counter, and you've seen the type. They're all over the United States. 60 years old, beanpole thin, been smoking hella cigarettes since she was 9, dude. Mm-hmm. Just leathery fucking skin. Okay. Not blonde, bleached hair. About 60 years old. And I'm paying for my coffee, and I look over, and there's this plexiglass. It was big, dude. Just like the size of a fucking refrigerator door with all these dick pills, gas station dick pills behind it. And they got Leopard 400s and Rhino 9000s and Up All Nights and Rico Suave 12s and just all these different things. If you want me to, I'll take a picture of my gas station dick pill collection and send it to you. You can put it in the show notes.
Dude, yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
This has to be seen. Yes.
Okay. And then there was one that caught my eye, and it was called Swag. S.W.A.G. And it was an acronym.
Acronym.
Thanks. For sex with a grudge.
Oh my God, dude.
And it was one white pill and two little black, like a tablet, and then two little black ball pills in there in this circular case. These are $10 each. Comedic gold. You got it right. And it said take one to hurt it. And it had this guy standing there with a smile on his face, and this girl stick figure. And then this girl's stick figure with smoke coming out of a pussy. It's not like a stick figure pussy. Stick figure, stick figure pussy. And no one's ever said that before. Stick figure pussy. and so the smoke is coming out of, and she's got a smile on her face, a little smile on her face, and he's standing there. And it said, "Take one to hurt it." And it said, "Take two to kill it." And then over on the kill it side, it had the guy flexing like this with a devil's grin in it, and the girl's on the ground with X's over her eyes and flames coming out of her stick pussy.
Oh my God, bro.
Yeah. And I go, do people buy these things? She goes, yeah, they do. And I go, okay, I'll take one of the swags. And so she gets me a swag, and now I've got gas station coffee and a gas station dick pill. And she goes, I mean, I understand if you want to hurt it, but do you really want to kill it?
Oh my God.
It was a Twilight Zone. I'm like, I wanted to laugh so fucking hard, but I didn't know if it was it shocked me. Do you really want to kill it? Like real fucking redneck, dude. And I paid for it and walked out. No, dude. And then I was hooked. I bought a lot of gas station dick pills.
Oh my God. Have you ever tried taking one? Have you ever taken one?
Yeah, I did. I did in 2014 before I ever started collecting them. My dick got super fucking hard and numb, and I came quick, and I didn't like it.
Oh my God, dude. Oh my God, bro. Dude, the gas station dick pills are a thing, bro. Ever since I was a kid, there used to be this, I'll tell this real quick, but there was this gas station near my house. And when we were kids, we weren't allowed to really go a lot of places ourselves because, stranger danger, whatever. So when you take a right out of my mom's house, if you go to the top of the street, there's lights, and it's kind of like a very main road. And Tedeschi's, which now is 7-Eleven, was across and up, and so we couldn't go there. Well, this gas station opens up where we don't have to cross the street. we can walk up to the right, and before the lights, just take a right and go down to this gas station. And it was definitely ran by like Armenian or, maybe Pakistani. I'm not exactly sure. And they would just sell us anything, dude. Like we'd walk in there, like literally like at 13, and they had these 24-ounce Mountain Dews that were only $1. I don't know where they were getting them because nowhere else had a 24-ounce. It was all 20 ounces. And they would sell them only for $1. But we'd buy condoms, we'd buy ginseng shots, we'd buy dick pills. And we just thought it was hilarious. I had this whole little collection of like random trinkets. It's actually still at my mom's house. I could probably find, I think the dick pill is still in there because I never took it. It was just hilarious. It was called like, it wasn't Extends or something like that. It was something that was hilarious. It wasn't as hilarious as swag, but it's funny how like, I'm 13 and I'm like thinking this is hilarious. And then I show up at your house when I'm like 29 and I'm like, this is how I knew. This is my community, man. This shit is still funny this many years later, and I'm just sick of pretending it's not funny. It's all hilarious. Let's fucking laugh at this shit. It's fucking funny. Laughter is healing.
Laughter's healing. Laugh at the devil and he will run away. Brian Sprague.
Exactly. I love you, bro.
Love you too.
Game recognized game. Where can people find out more about Enlifted? Dude, if anyone signs up from Enlifted from this show, they're going to be Dave raised and they're going to be fucking amazing, bro. Okay. I cannot tell you guys, okay? We're goofballs, but I cannot tell you guys how fucking powerful this goddamn program is, okay? It'll literally change your life. Where can they find out more about it?
Dude, follow us on at Enlifted Coaches. At Enlifted Coaches, send me a message. I'll answer you. And then enlifted.me if you want to learn about the certifications. Yeah, we certify coaches.
Dude, I love you, bro. Thanks for being a legend. Thank you for being such a fucking unit. Thank you for being the embodiment of the Marlboro Man, John Wayne, and a Tonka truck, all fucking put into one. That is the trifecta of what I think Mark England is, man. And I am so grateful for you in my life, dude, for giving me so many fucking hilarious things and memories, dude, that I hold so dear to my heart and will forever. And you know what? Team No Peak. We only get better and better. And now you guys listen to this are officially part of Team No Peak. Fuck this whole myth about getting worse as you get older. We only get better with age. So I love you, Mark. Have the best time ever, bro. Thank you for coming on. All right. Woof. And thank you to you guys tuning into the show. If you like this, go give us a 5-star review. It helps us find more people like you. And until next time, everybody, may the source be with you to infinity and beyond. Peace for now.